is a creative problem solver and he has a passion for building digital solutions. He enjoys crafting user-centered experiences and exploring how AI can be integrated into everyday applications to solve real-world challenges. So he currently works at Ovabo Labs, where he collaborates on projects that spans both design and development. He's particularly interested in intelligent automation, agent-based systems, and the creative potential of AI tools in transforming how we build. So that's our first speaker for today. And our second speaker is Emmanuel Akonji. He is the lead AI architect of Ovra AI. I'm not sure I got the pronunciation, but yeah. So he's the Union platform architecting the emotional infrastructure for digital voice. So he has 7 years in 7 years experience in software engineering. And he has led the architecture for platforms serving millions of users, and he has deep hands-on experience in in deploying production AI ML systems. He's driven by the challenge of infusing technology with emotional intelligence, and is a passionate advocate for building ethical, creator-centric economies through technology like Over AI's voice equity marketplace. He's also an open source contributor actually on blockchain storage solutions. So those are the two speakers we have today. Um, Hello, Mayowa. It's nice to have you today. I'm not sure Emmanuel Akonji. Oh yeah, he is. Um, it's nice to have you guys today.
Hi, good afternoon. Thank you guys for having me.
Yeah, thank you too.
Yeah, good afternoon. And
Yeah,
thank you
good.
for having me.
All right. Yeah, thank you so much. So our two speakers are here already, and we have like a few questions for them. This is like an ask me anything session. So if you have like any questions or yeah, or comments or anything to say, I think it's a very interactive session. You can just like drop them in chat, or better still, maybe raise your hand so that you can speak directly to our speakers today. So yeah, thank you so much everybody for coming around. So I think before we go ahead, I want to also thank people that came around yesterday for our building AI session, and I think it was a very very lovely session by Matthew. And yeah, I don't know if anybody has questions from yesterday's session as well. Feel free to leave them on the chat too. Um, Maybe I should wait 10 seconds for that so that we are going to start today's session on like a fresh note. So yeah, as I was saying, for today's session, I have like a couple questions here for our speakers. So how it's going to work is I'm going to ask a question, and like the first question, Mayowa could respond, and the second question will be our second speaker. But I feel like if anybody, like if a speaker answers and the second speaker has something to add, you can just feel free to like unmute, because I feel like we want to make it the most of this session. So if you have like a difference or something perspective, you can just feel free to unmute and speak about that as well. So yeah, I have questions ranging from AI integration and industry impact. I also have developer journey and career advice, then ethics, concerns, and the future of AI, then tools, data, and technical insights. Yeah, I think those are like the sections we have today. And as I said earlier, if you have any question for our speakers, maybe during the course of the call, or maybe even before you came to this call, you had like expectations that my questions might not meet, feel free to like just send them to the chat so that we could respond to them. All right, okay, I think that's enough. So I'm going to start from the developer journey and career advice, because I feel like that's like the basics or foundation of like even entering AI at all. So my first question here is, how can a student or beginner start learning AI without feeling overwhelmed? Of course, like there are a lot of like overwhelming materials. Yeah, a lot of like paid and unpaid resources. So how can a student or beginner start learning AI without feeling overwhelmed? Mayo, I don't know if you're like up to take that.
Okay. How can, if I get the question right, how can someone start? Basically, that's the question. I would say again, I'll bring you back to AI. AI has made a lot of things easier. You want to start, you don't have any resources, you don't know where to go to. You can go to ChatGPT, the most popular one. Just tell it to like give you like a real detailed step on how you can start. One of the things I do is I make a very difficult task, I make it look small. So it helps my brain to like break it down, then achieve it step by step. So once you are prompting ChatGPT, it is giving you a detailed step on how you can learn. For example, the most basic information ChatGPT will tell you is that you should learn Python because there are Python frameworks and JavaScript framework also too. But their Python is the most popular. There are Python frameworks that you can use to scale higher. So the first solution is to give you is that learn Python. Then how do you learn Python? You start from the basics, start from data types, conditionals, and all like that. So the the easiest way I would say is AI is all around you. We have different AI models. We can ask question, give it like I want to learn this, I want to learn this, I want to learn this. Give me a detailed step. Search the web for tutorials I can use to learn, and from there, step by step, things will start getting clearer.
Yeah, thank you so much for that detailed response. Oh, okay. Emmanuel is raising his hand. I assume you want to answer his question.
Yeah, I think I got this question. He mentioned that there's Python for data science, there's Python for backend engineers, there's Python for different fields. At the core of it all, Python is still a language, it's a tool. Learn every fundamental concept because they are transferable. So if you want to learn Python, learn it in depth and know where you will have to stop. And like the previous speaker said, you can just give a language model a prompt. Oh, I am currently at this phase of learning and I want to learn about AI. Give me tutorials and videos and articles I can read with this particular timeline. I have 2 years. And then it will give you videos and links that you can verify and use that as a basis to get started. But there's one major thing you have to be careful of is the tutorial help, where it gives you tutorials and all you're sticking to is tutorials all alone, and then without the help of those tutorials you can't exactly learn or do things on your own. Outside actually just prompting it to give you tutorials, also tell it to improve or give you projects you can work on after each tutorial. Or at the end of Python or Python list and all that, it gives you a practical project you can work on. So that helps you on the side practice what you're doing and also helps you build portfolio projects along the way till you get, as you're learning on that roadmap it has constructed for you. I think that's the biggest thing that will help you once you have hands-on projects and not just tutorials alone. But Python can be applicable anywhere. Just learn the fundamentals of the language. A backend engineer you use Python, you're an AI engineer, you still use Python. All the concepts are transferable.
And yeah, thank you so much, Emmanuel, for that. Yeah, I think Jerry Jake had reacted. So yeah, thank you for answering his question. Also, I can see Miriam's question. So I'm wondering if like everybody could just keep on dropping their questions in chat, and when we are done, we can like should I say we would now come back to these questions so that in case we cover them like from the questions I'm going to ask, we don't have to like repeat questions or something. Yeah. So we'll come back to your question, Miriam. Thank you. So everybody can keep on dropping their questions in chat. Yeah. Um, so I feel like Emmanuel has answered the question, so we are back to Mayowa. So if you were starting your AI journey again today, what would you do differently?
Okay. Um, what would I do differently? The other speakers mentioned what I'll do differently. Of course, he mentioned tutorial. Believe me, tutorial hell is real. The urge of wanting to know and not knowing where to strike the balance of, is this enough? Should I continue? Definitely you continue learning, but the goal of learning is to apply what you've learned and build projects, just as you have said, not just watching tutorials, reading articles, this. Once you learn, you apply, then you build projects. I think that's what I'll do differently. Yeah, that's what I'll do differently.
Yeah, thank you for that. Yeah, tutorial hell is like a real, I want to say problem, but yeah, it's a real problem, like generally for developers. So yeah, thank you for that. Our next question, which will be for Emmanuel, is what AI tools or framework would you recommend someone just starting out?
Okay. AI tools or framework. In terms of frameworks, my preference is still PyTorch, but that depends on whoever is starting. If it's a complete beginner, I think you should just start or stick with. We're in an era of generative AI. If you're starting now to learn the fundamentals of Python, then if you're interested in the generative AI field, because that's really the buzz of things now, and that's where you see a lot of jobs, you can pick up LangChain. And one favorable thing is LangChain now expands across the Python ecosystem into JS. So I'll begin with Python or JavaScript, then pick up LangChain and learn concepts about the AI agents and all. But for someone who is going into research itself, which is like, oh, understanding how these models are built, I think the best thing is after Python is to pick up your classical machine learning model and classical machine learning, basically scikit-learn, build classification models and predictive models. And from there you can climb up to understanding some mathematical concepts, then PyTorch itself. They start climbing up, join communities, and read up on papers that interest you in a particular field. At the point where you're picking PyTorch, that's the point where you pick which field of AI research do you want to go on or which one interests you. And the way you can get interest is by reading up. There are a lot of newsletters I follow. Once you find the concept you find interesting, go research papers on that. I think a good starting point is archive to get papers on that topic. And that's your entry point into the space. So there's the AI software engineer, then there's the AI researcher route and perspective.
Yeah, thank you so much for that. So yeah, I think I really like the fact that you made the distinction between like the AI software engineering and the research aspects. Yeah, thank you so much. I feel like there was even somebody on yesterday's call that was asking like questions on how to get started and yeah, things like that. So I hope the person is on the call today. But yeah, thank you so much for that. So the next question today will be, how do you balance learning new concepts in AI with building and shipping actual projects? Um, that's Myra.
Okay. Balancing new concepts and shipping actual projects. Um, One thing again, I will continue using myself as an example. One thing I do, balancing new concepts. But first of all, I'm in different communities on Twitter, so I get information from Twitter. Once I see something new and it is in line with the path in which I have drawn out for myself, okay, I know, okay, I have to pick up this thing and I need to learn it, even if eventually I'll not use it, but I need to like just know what it's about. One thing I do is I set a goal for myself. Okay, this week, probably I eventually found a course and it has like 10 modules. Oh, this week, let me just cover 3 modules from this course. So I know that, okay, while I am still building and focusing on the tasks at building, then I can also dedicate little hours or little time into going there into the course and picking up the module just to like learn and add more knowledge. So that is what I do most of the time, and it works for me. Once I see a new thing, I break it down, just like I said in the beginning. I break it down so I won't get overwhelmed. I break the task down, then I go little by little, little by little. Before I know it, the 10 modules are done. I've picked up a new skill, and I'm still shipping products. So that's just it for me.
All right. Thank you so much for that amazing response as well. I want to mention again, like once you're replying, I feel like more questions can come to mind. So if you have questions, just drop it in the group. I'm already seeing that Miriam dropped another. So yeah, thank you. We can just keep on doing that. So my next question here, I think is the last question in terms of like developer journey and career advice. So, are certifications or online courses like Google's ML Crash Course, are they worth it for breaking into AI roles? Akonji Emmanuel.
Um, Crash courses are, for me, they're a good foundation to break into any field, but they don't exactly give you that in-depth you might need to act on that role. But if you're someone who is always constantly experimenting, if I want to learn about a new thing, a lot of times crash courses are what I take. Then I then go on to experiment a lot, like spending hours trying new things and experimenting. Oh, I was taught this from that course. How far can I push the idea or concept? And really, that's what is going to help you build your own depth. Because a course can only teach you as much as it can within that short hours or number of period of time of that whatever you're learning. The majority of the effort comes from you and how far you want to go into that and how deep you want to take what you've learned and experiment with it. At the end of the day, you learn the basic concepts. Then, if today you take a crash course on generative AI and you're taught about LangChain, after that course, what have you built or what can you build with it without reference into that tutorial or whatever crash course you take? Documentation is your best bet. AI sometimes help, but a lot of times they just give you a broad idea, and a lot of times they are not exact solutions. So I wouldn't say you should rely on them so much. For me, documentation still stands as your first consultation. Then you can then go back to an AI. Experiment first after the crash course, reference the documentation, and then keep building. Once you get stuck, AI is then your tool to help you get unstuck about it. Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much for that. I feel like your response has even brought another question up. So I think someone is asking here that can you please come again with the concepts or the areas it said a beginner should start from. Yeah, I'm done with the career advice section. So I feel like we should take the questions from that aspect before moving to another. So someone asked if you could come again with the concept of the areas a beginner should start from.
Oh, okay. The career a beginner should start from. The first question I would like to ask is, are you going for the software engineering aspect of AI? Because there seems to be a group of people who are focused on that, or are you going for research? They focus on research.
Emmanuel Oladokun, I think you can respond to that.
If you're trying to find out the difference, a lot of software engineers they don't exactly build AI models. Their own job is just to integrate those existing models into solutions that exist. Or if you're focusing on research, then your pathway is somewhat different. I think you should start with Python as a programming language. Most frameworks and most of the resources you find in the research field are basically built around Python, the Python ecosystem. Then pick up your feet with classical machine learning because that builds your appetite for like the mathematical foundations that takes you all the way into PyTorch and deep learning. So start with Python, pick up classical machine learning. That's with tools like scikit-learn, learn classification models like XGBoost, Light GBM. I think Kaggle has a lot of fundamental hackathons and programs that you can try your hands on around that. And once you've exhausted it and you've learned a lot of mathematical concepts there, you can also add mathematics of machine learning there. There's this open course whereby, let me get his name again. There's this open course by Stanford University on YouTube there that teaches you about mathematics of machine learning. Then from there, once you're done and you've exhausted that. The reason why I'm saying mathematics is important is because a lot of concept around deep learning and the whole AI research field still revolves around understanding mathematics itself. So you shouldn't shy away from it. I struggle with it, and I still struggle with it today. I don't call myself a researcher. I'm just an engineer. So picking that up prepares you for when you go into deep learning, and there you have the opportunity of branching out into several fields, language models, computer vision, and as many field reinforcement learning, as many fields as possible. But I think that's really builds the foundation for you and allows you to scale up fast. If you're scared of you not being able to catch up and you still want to just keep in touch and not get swept up, follow a roadmap and still keep reading up on papers on fields that interest you in the space. So when you get to that destination, you're not just doing catch up, and you just have some level of understanding about it, because it can be very, very overwhelming. You're seeing people do amazing things out there and you feel like, oh, I'm just starting out. Maybe I should just stop and then jump in. At the end of the day, you just keep going back to the beginning. It's like you're building a house without a foundation.
Yeah, thank you so much, Emmanuel, for that. And yeah, that was a very insightful response on research, especially. And Miriam, I also wanted to mention, so Testimony dropped a response to your question on the chat. Thank you, Testimony. So I don't know if you're also a part of DSN and GDSC. I think all these communities also can help. But yeah, he dropped a response to your question. So let us know if you have like any more questions. For Mayowa, I think there was an initial question Miriam dropped. So she's like, good afternoon. I'm new to the concept of AI, but I would like to understand how revolutionary is AI working. What is the future plan for the use of AI in 10 years? Is there a higher possibility AI will be stopped for some use in the coming years? Where should we look forward to building from the common use of AI like ChatGPT and the rest? Maiwa,
That was a lot. Let me go over it.
it's on the chat.
Let me go over it again. So, concept of AI, but oh, okay. Let me start with how revolutionary is AI working? And in the next 10 years, and I think I saw a question is, would it be stopped? Okay, let me start from there. I don't think AI will be stopped in the next 10 years. In fact, I feel AI would be, or if not fully integrated, because this time around, presently now we have AI automations, and I don't think AI will be stopped. For how revolutionary AI is cutting across all sectors, all sectors. I've seen I've seen a language game, how to learn new language with AI for kids, and it's amazing. So AI is going to cut across all sectors, and it would open the floor even more for AI agents. Definitely, AI agents are flying around this time around, but in the coming years, most tasks would be automated using AI. And when I say AI automation, I mean simple performing tasks, but this time around with AI. So the AI can think, make decision. Probably there was a problem. Instead of returning an error, the AI does the task and all like that. Sure. So AI is here to stay. AI cannot be stopped. Um, and where should we look forward to build apart? apart from the common use of AI like ChatGPT and the rest. Um, I'll answer this question based on a personal level. I focus on AI agents, and there are frameworks even for absolute beginners that you just understand Python. There are frameworks you can use to build AI agents. So if you are looking into building AI agents, oh, I didn't explain what AI agents is. For example, let me just use agents. Who is an agent? Let's say an house agent is somebody that would look for house for you. Now, who is an AI agent? What is an AI agent? AI agents perform specific tasks for you. That is just the bare bone of AI agents. So AI agents are here to stay. You can look into building agents. You can look into building agents and AI automations too. I hope I was able to like summarize the questions there.
Yeah, thank you so much. Miriam, I hope you did justice to your question, even though I feel like you did. So yeah, thank you so much, Mayowa, for that. Okay, thank you, Miriam. Yeah, she said you did. All right, thank you so much. So yeah, I think that is what we have for like developer journey and career advice. So I hope everybody is like should I say now knows where to start from, what next in their journey, and all of that. So after that, Benga Fagbero, you can speak.
Good afternoon. Sorry, can you hear me?
Yeah, good afternoon.
Okay. Thank you very much for the program, and thank you very much for the speaker. I actually appreciate what's it called. So what happened is, although I'm still like a learner too, so I'm trying to work on something, but I've been getting, how am I going to call this? I've been getting some edits. So I'm trying to create what's it called for my project. I'm trying to work on an AI that let's say actually break down let's say this difficult educational context into layman terms. Let's just use that as a reference. So that's what my project is all about. So I've worked on, although I read some what's it called, I even see some models on Hugging Face and stuff. But the problem I like encounter right now is like getting these models to like not just saying this time around because I discovered data discovered that even if I want to like work on any model, I need to have a system with a very solid GPU. And if I want to be buying GPU online, or let me say be using online GPU, there are some difficulties I'm trying to like get along the line. So what I just want to ask now, my question now is like what will he recommend? Like I mean the speaker or anybody that can answer this question, like which particular advice can you give me or what can you recommend will make the work a little bit easier? Because I know that I am just starting, but I just want to use it to understand some things and also after finishing my project, my plan is just to dwell more on AI and research more concerning LLMs and what's it called? LLMs and this NLP. So that's my question. So thank you very much.
All right, Benga. Yeah, Emmanuel, I don't know if you got this question and you'd like to respond to that.
Okay, if I got it correctly, you said you're trying to build an AI solution that takes educational concepts and breaks it down into layman terms, right?
Yes, yes.
So at the core of it all, um, how how exactly? That means you're basically using making use of a language model. Are you using open source or closed source?
For now, I'm trying to use open source because I think I'll be after getting all the what's it called the what I'm forced to do now is actually thinking of maybe using Gemini API or what's it called or um OpenAI API. But the issue there is even if I want to use them, there are limitations because they are according to the documentation that I read, there are tokens that I can make use of. And once I exit those tokens, I'll need to either pay for plans, like update the plans, or just that's for Gemini. And for ChatGPT, for what I see there is that I need to like they use paper, what's it called, paper prompt or paper token, sort of.
Yeah, people token basis.
But I'm open if I can get access to open source. That would be very very like great.
Okay, let me give you from my own perspective. Open source is great, but one thing is, if you're running that on your own computer locally, if you don't have enough GPUs to run that efficiently, you stand the risk of frying your computer. But I think there are now smaller models you can use. I think the last time I checked, the Phi model from Microsoft and a couple of other ones that I think you can find on the LLM leaderboard on Hugging Face. But in terms of that, all of them have this limitation of context limits, right? And one thing you can do in that situation is to make use of using LangChain. So let me just speak. If I'm speaking from a LangChain or LangGraph perspective, let me know, or are you using a different framework?
No,
Can you hear me?
no. Like I've not even like picked
Oh, you've
AI
not
to
started.
use. I can hear you. I
Okay.
can hear you. So I've not.
If I'm the one starting the
What is that?
project, I said if I'm the one starting the project, the
Okay.
framework I'm most familiar with is LangChain and LangGraph. And there's this feature called memory, right, that allows you to extend the context of the language model. So basically, if I'm feeding, and this is also something you have to keep in mind. Let's say I want to feed in, or I have books I need to break down for anyone coming to the application. The first point of call is a RAG approach, retrieval augmented generation, set up like a vector store. ChromaDB is an open source alternative that you can use that is free, that you can run locally. All the documents you want to use for that topic, I think you should load them there. And each time a user asks a question, it does retrieval from that your vector database and feeds that into and returns that as a response. And for questions, in that case, to optimize it and prevent you from wasting your tokens, you can always cache that response. At this layer, that means you're introducing something like Redis there. Oh, okay, someone has asked this question. So if a previous person then asks the same question, all I just have to do is fetch that response for that user. But to also keep that conversation going, one thing you do is introduce something called a memory. So it keeps an understanding of the previous conversations that the person has had in that particular session and keeps that going. And when you're approaching the context limits, something I usually do is I still use a language model to generate a summary of those past conversations. And with that summary, I discard the other previous conversations and start with a fresh context and understanding. And then I continue loading my prompts and perform my RAG process all over again. So it's just management, your understanding of managing. I have this context. And when I'm approaching that context limit, I summarize everything and discard everything that's been previously fed into the context prior to that time. And memory management is what I do. And using Redis to cache, so it will save you cost on your own level.
All right. Thank you very much. That's very, very helpful.
But I
really
can do
appreciate it.
something for you. I'll send something over that can help you out. I'll send something to the
All right,
organizer
boss.
to
Thank
help
you
you out.
so much.
You're welcome.
All right,
Yeah.
sir.
All
All right.
right.
So I'm sorry. My last question now is there any way I can actually like connect, because I think one thing I think now is the best way to get things done is kind of see people that are already on the path and seek their guidance so that they can guide you based on the mistakes and things they've encountered, so that I won't also encounter it. So I'll be very, very much happy to connect with you maybe at the end of all the whole program, so that if like there are any other things I need to like work on, or some things I need, I think that will actually save a lot of stress actually trying to, rather from doing this trial and error, we go again, trial and error, we go again. So that's just what I want to ask you. Thank you very much. I really appreciate both the organizers and my undisputed speakers. Thank you so much.
I'll drop my contacts here, but apologies, I'm not always online like that. I think I'll drop my contact. I'll also drop my email. I'm more available via email than via WhatsApp.
Yeah. Thank you so much for that.
And please do well to introduce yourself, please.
Yeah, all right. Okay, thank you so much, Emmanuel and Benga, for your questions. So, yeah, I just feel like our time has been fast spent, so I might reduce the questions that we have. Sorry about my background. So that we can like face the important questions on the list today. So as I said earlier, so we are moving to the ethics, concerns, and the future of AI. So yeah, generally ethics has become like an issue or a subject matter that has become very important practically in AI. So the first question here, which will be directed to Maiwa. So lately there has been news about GPT like exhibiting signs of independence, like trying to replicate its own code or lying. What's your opinion on this, and should we be concerned? I think Grok AI also got like some backlash like this recently about it posting by itself or something. So yeah, what's your opinion on this, and should we be concerned, Myra?
Okay, this scenario made me remember Ultron in Avengers, the way he was able to replicate himself and claiming he was going to wipe out humanity and stuff like that. So what I would say is there are guardrails. There are guardrails. The developer has set up guardrails in place. For example, if you ask ChatGPT, can you tell me how to create a bomb? It will not give you the answer. So there are guardrails. Even if it replicated itself, I am sure probably it was for an experiment or something internally. But I'm sure the developers are they are aware of it, and there's nothing to be scared of. There's nothing to be scared of. And if there's something to be scared of, probably we'll be seeing Terminator 4.
Okay. Yeah, thank you so much for that response, Maiwa. All right. Yeah, that was a very nice response, especially with the references. Uh, okay. So I think the next question is sort of related to that. So I think you're saying we should not worry, but I think the fact that we have to not worry is because like a lot of where this the regions where this AI are built are usually with like a lot of AI regulations and all. So the next question here is, how do we ensure responsible AI development in regions with limited regulation? Like, sorry, can you hear me, Emmanuel?
How can we ensure responsible AI development in regions where there's little to no regulation?
Yeah, yeah.
I think the question of regulation, I think that's a very dicey topic because I'm someone who is always pro experimentation and pro research, but you also get to see the side of people who have this perspective that there's no limits to what kind of experiments that can be done, and then they do whatever it takes to ensure that they get their thought process proven. I think it's a mix of um, oversights from bodies established to ensure that they can rein in people like that or keep them under control. Because models are getting much smarter, they are getting better, but we also need to keep in mind, oh, how are these models trained and which data is being used to train. I think in the earlier released version of Grok, there was this it was pushing these hate comments around, or these Hitler based comments for a while before it then got the version got updated, and then we got a new release. For things like that, I think insights into how those models were trained has to be looked into by an oversight or an oversight committee. Like we have the web WW3 consortium for the web. Something like that should be set up that defines standards and regulations, and also ensures that every race, everyone is considered in that training data being used for these models. Because if you look at many of the models today, they don't accurately reflect Africa as a whole. I know there are efforts being pushed around that narrative to ensure that every language across every continent of the world is being reflected. But regulations on how the perspective of where the data is being sourced, how it's being cleaned, and insight on how it was trained should also be released. Because where there's no law and order in the society, everyone can do anything, and it's a very lawless system that leads to chaos. An oversight committee should be set up. We have researchers around AI ethics who come out to push narratives of, there needs to be some level of transparency. And I think a lot of effort should be invested around that kind of research in the field and in the space. Yeah. So
Yeah.
it's a blend of flexibility between regulation of some sorts with a committee that understands what the dangers and benefits, and then experimentations on the side. The committee's job is to rein in excessive experimentations that can lead to chaos.
All right. Thank you so much, Emmanuel. So I feel like yeah, that was a good response, of course, and it's like even opening like a research should I say field generally, like the concept of AI ethics. So I feel like yeah, there are a lot of AI ethics researchers, but maybe we actually need more AI ethics researchers in Africa as well. So yeah, thank you for that response. I think our last question on that. I think this is actually a very interesting topic because it has been brought up in a lot of discussions. So this is for Mayowa. Do you think AI could lead to significant job loss in the tech ecosystem, or will it create more opportunities?
Ah, I would answer this question with what I read on Twitter. The person said, and I quote, it's somebody you know, his name is Jay Fowe. He said, AI amplifies. What does AI amplify? AI amplifies laziness and AI amplifies technical ability. I've forgotten how you put it. Now, if you are lazy and you just solely rely on AI, you have a task, copy and paste, Claude, he has done it for you. Definitely AI is going to replace you. But if you know what you are doing and you are not just the copy and paste kind of person, definitely AI is going to amplify your work. For example, now creating an app or a website now, you know what you've set up everything, then AI will definitely make your work faster. Unlike somebody that is just starting, let's say React JS now, doesn't understand the core concept, doesn't understand states and all like that, props, then ChatGPT is just giving us the code, is just copying, pasting, copying. Eventually, the vibe coding will not vibe code again. It will be at loggerheads with his code. So AI is not coming for our jobs, not just yet. But if that technical ability is not there, definitely AI is coming. We have seen both .new is doing really good in creating websites, and it is even going to integrate with Superbase. Even VO2 is doing really good. So it now depends on the developer. Are you technical enough to allow AI amplify your work, or you're just the copy and paste kind of person? So that is my view on that.
Oh yeah, thank you so much, Mayowa, for that. Yes, I feel like a lot of people, especially people that just started like learning tech, like 2023, 2024, yeah, 2025 rather. So yeah, a lot of people just jump into like coding without actually learning the basics. So yeah, that was like a very um, insightful. Yeah. Okay, Emmanuel wants to speak as well. Please go ahead.
If you don't have an understanding of, like what the previous speaker said, if you don't have an understanding of whatever you're doing, a lot of the answers you are getting from chat GPT and other language models will just vibe code security issues into your application at the end of the day. You might have created a working application, but someone who understands what they are doing and who is technical enough might be able to jailbreak their way into your application. So it's a mix of, even if you want to vibe code or the whole term, I hate that term to confirm that. If you want to vibe code an application, I think you should still have an understanding of what that language you're using is, and have a way to resolve your way out of bugs. And for a beginner, please don't vibe code. It brings a lot of frustration than benefits. I vibe code something for like use an hour to vibe code an application, but when you run into a bug, you use the next 2 days to resolve that issue. Well, why not just learn the language? Then you can add questions to chat GPT that give you insight on how to solve it rather than just being a copy and paste developer. It works, but over time you start seeing the whole house of cards fall off.
Thank you for that as well. Yeah, as our two speakers have said, like the importance of actually learning can't be overemphasized. Like, of course, there are a lot of like tools. There's Cursor now that just makes everything really fast. But yeah, I feel like at the end of the day, yeah, actually cause more problems than solutions if you do not understand these tools yourself. Okay, thank you so much. I think that is like the end concerning our ethics, concerns, and it's fluctuating. So I'm so sorry about that, by the way. Because of our time, I feel like I want us to like end the session before 1. So the last session for and technical insight. So I'm going to say it once again. If you have any questions, please feel free to drop them in chat. Yeah, especially if they like come up during like our speakers responding. Jerry Jake, you can also drop your question in the chat. Or you can speak since we just ended the session. I don't know if Jerry Jake is raising up his hand or if it's just me. All right. Please drop your question in chat if you actually have a question. But yeah, we are going to the tools, data, and technical insights. And we have like 3 questions here. So the first one, how can developers in Africa tackle the data scarcity problem in AI? I think Emmanuel can respond to that as well.
The data scarcity issue. I think one of the biggest platforms helping to solve this issue is actually Google. I don't know if anyone has heard of the Google Crowdsource program. Yeah, Google Crowd has this data collection program that is like the biggest. And I think that's what thing that gave them access to train models and have access to infinite amount of data. They run competitions that accept contributors all over, across campuses, across all walks of life. Replicating something like that, where it's like community-based data collection effort, so starting a program that involves collecting data sets in unique areas, is one of the ways to actually tackle that same problem. And really, that's how Google really solved the problem and is still solving the problem today. A lot of efforts, or we see a lot of, Africa has this, well, we are termed as how is it underdeserved or based, let me just put it in plain terms. We are termed as we don't have enough data sets for some languages. We don't have enough data sets to fully classify us on a global scale. and make us recognizable in terms of data contributions. But collective data contributions and efforts from people, we can even start one from this community whereby we launch a program whereby everyone starts collating data sets on different languages they understand or different scenes. You come across a scenario in your own locality there, take a picture of it, label it, and submit on the platform. And at the end of the day, we all put it together and combine it as a data labeled project and even write a paper about it. That pushes out a lot of data sets that helps to fill that data gap in the ecosystem and on the continent at large. Rather than individual efforts, community-based efforts is really the way to go about it to fill that gap.
All right. Thank you so much. I didn't even know about as well.
Thank you, Testimony.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, thank you so much for that. So our next question here for no, not Emmanuel, sorry, Maiwa, is what is one underrated AI ML technique that more people should be using or learning about? Sorry, did you get that? Um, okay,
Can you
I'm
hear
not.
me?
I can just hear you now.
Okay. So an underrated AL ML technique, right?
Yeah.
Um, underrated. Okay. Um, one thing I would say is, as somebody that is starting out, you would always want to go out there and build your own model and all like that. So something I'll say is underrated but not really underrated is actually building on another model instead of trying to build your own model from scratch. I think it's called transferred learning or something like that. So instead of building your own model from scratch, you can build on an existing model. It just kind of makes work faster and easier.
Yeah, thank you for that. Yes, I think that is actually an underrated way to make your building way faster and all of that. So thank you, Maiwa, for that response. So actually, this is like our last question for um for today's session, I think, except other people have like questions that they still want to ask our speakers. So our last question for today is going to Emmanuel. So how do you determine whether Jake, I'm not sure you can hear me, but we are in the tools section. So yeah, how do you determine whether to use traditional ML models or go straight into deep learning?
Can I go ahead? I think when you're approaching any problem, it's start simple before adding any layer of complexity. That's really how I approach any machine learning problem before going into deep learning, which is like very computationally expensive. Start with something very simple. It can be a simple role-based approach. Then you learn from that process and gradually start adding layers. Oh, I want to classify or I want to be able to predict something. Or a simple one is like a recommendation. Well, let's say you want to recommend items to a group of people or social media posts. You can start with a simple rule-based approach whereby you take all the posts and you sort them, like you randomly sort them and then keep a count of the number of times a person has viewed a particular post before showing them a new different set of posts. That's really like a simple rule-based recommendation engine. Then from there, once you've exhausted that option and see how well it performs, you get to a point in time where a person might have just viewed all the posts. You've hit a bottleneck there. Then the next approach is, oh, what other solutions do I branch out to? I've hit a limit here. Do I go into the deep learning approach where I have to use a recommendation engine, or can I explore other alternatives? Starting simple helps you keep track of what is useful at a particular point in time before jumping into a next solution or a next problem. And really, that's how a lot of machine learning solutions evolve in the industry.
Okay, yeah, thank you for that. Yeah, the point of starting simple was what stood out to me the most. So yes, thank you for that. I don't know if anybody has questions based on their responses or general questions. I think a lot of people had questions as regards to like career growth and career paths as well. So yeah, you can still ask questions in any field, practically any AI like field. And we only have room for two questions. I'm not even sure we have questions. If you have questions, you can either raise up your hand or drop a comment in the chat. I think you have like 10 seconds again for that. Okay, I think we answered most of the questions like during the course of the meeting. So yeah, thank you so much. So personally, I think I enjoyed this session, and I want to thank the speakers, Akonji Emmanuel and Showumi Maiwa, for like a very amazing session, and also for the organizers, GDG on campus for now. So I think this was a very amazing session. So yeah, thank you so much to the speakers. Thank you so much to the people that came around to listen to what they had to say. So yeah, thank you so much. I think yeah, this like concludes the meeting. Wait, I'm coming. Emmanuel, Emmy, I don't know if you have anything to add before we close today.
Um, I don't think I do, but just special thanks to everyone. And yeah, special thanks to the guests as well, our speakers and everyone. So it has been a long one. So we started on Thursday. Today's Saturday, and which today marks the end of the Build with AI session. Although we'll still have another one, which is a study jam. We'll still have a Build with AI study jam session, which would you all will get informed eventually. So if you are not on the community group, you can please do well to join. And if you're not probably not a Funabite and you just want to follow, you can follow us on X. We are going to be posting our stuff on X, and yeah, that is it. And keep tabs on our dashboard as well, like our GTG dashboard. So thank you very much.
Oh yeah, thank you so much, Emmy, for that. So yes, this concludes our build with AI session. So thank you so much for everybody that joined the first day, second day, and even today. Yeah, thank you so much, everybody.